if you go right now to the New York Post website, the lead story is all about Nancy Pelosi. Miranda Devine has written a great op-ed. Nancy Pelosi is finished. No one deserves more blame for the Dems' $1 billion electoral collapse than her. Keep in mind, she's the one who stabbed Joe Biden in the chest, and essentially he had to walk the plank. So she is the reason Kamala Harris was the nominee, and she is the reason, according to so many people, that they really stunk up the place this election.
Pelosi told the New York Times that President Biden should have dropped his re-election bid earlier, and that if he had, Democrats might have had the opportunity to run an open primary. And that led to this headline. Axios headline says, "Scoop, House Dems sick of Pelosi." And one senior House Democrat that was interviewed says, quote, "She needs to take a seat."
Yeah. Right. By the way, how disrespectful it is for the sitting speaker. Hakeem Jeffries, he's the one who should be front and center. He's the one who should be giving explanations, excuses, and setting up a mission. And he said that a member of the Congressional Black Caucus said this: "I don't think she, Pelosi, is being respectful of him, Jeffries." Now, Jeffries was asked that specifically on Sunday on Meet the Press. Listen.
Very quickly, though, do you think she's undermining your leadership with her public pronouncements?
No.
OK, that was quick. One of the arguments that Nancy Pelosi made is that President Biden should have gotten out of the race sooner. Do you believe he should have dropped out sooner?
I think that President Biden will go down in history as one of the most consequential presidents of all time, and I was thankful for all of the work that we were able to do together. He did make the decision. It was a selfless decision to pass the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris. I think she ran with it and did the best job that she could under incredibly challenging circumstances in a little over 100 days. She came close, but we fell short.
Telling the truth, because Joe Biden said it would take God Almighty to pull him out of the race. And then he went on a 2-week rally binge, as well as doing about 4 network interviews. If Biden wanted to finish this out and was maybe not told the truth or lying about his own polls, but Nancy Pelosi said when the guys didn't step up, meaning Obama and Clinton, I had to go out and do it. And then they finished the job. Maybe it started with George Clooney, but he's not being honest. I know he's in a hard spot, and they get along, but that's not being. I think the one thing that she did not figure out, she's the most overrated politician of our generation. Remember, this is the woman who classlessly tore up the State of the Union address that the whole world watches as if that was, and she couldn't do it, so she had to do it one at a time. So that's when she lost it. And she was asked in her own daughter's documentary, she said, I should have put more National Guard troops there on January 6th. She doesn't even bring that up again.
Well, ultimately, Joe Biden has not been in good shape for a year and a half or 2 years. He should have stepped aside for the country.
And she knew.
And now for the party. And she and other top Democrats saw him with their own 2 eyes and let this happen. And then eventually she stabbed him in the chest, as I said a moment ago. But it was too late.
And she wanted an open primary. I think she knew in her heart of hearts that Kamala Harris wasn't the right one for the job.
Right.
Well, you would have to have Joe would have had to back out long before to have an open primary.
They wanted to have a jungle primary and have an old-fashioned convention
in 6 weeks,
where they put everyone's name in a hat, and then they would have lost all the money that Joe Biden had. The only person that could keep that money was the vice president, and she,
because her name was on the ticket.
What I think has come out is that her goal was to make it an open primary. She had everything right until Joe Biden says, "I'm endorsing the vice president." That stopped her plan in its tracks, and they were stuck with somebody with 32% approval rating who can't retain a staff and doesn't understand policy and is too lazy to read it.
Exactly. I think he said, fine, Nancy, you're pushing me out. George Clooney, you're pushing me out. Barack Obama, you're pushing me out. Well, then I get to choose the candidate, and it's going to be my vice president.
Right. And that's why everyone believes that that he voted for Trump, Joe Biden.
Well, people are speculating that. His wife wore the red pantsuit the next day.
And he wore a Trump hat.
Or he left it blank. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.